Dick Cavett Show, John Lennon, VTR 9871, Air TBA, take one. Cavett Show. Tonight with special guests, John Lennon and Yoko Ono. Ladies and gentlemen, Dick Cavett.
Listen, I am afraid I have a major disappointment to announce. The tie that I wanted to wear didn't show up for today's show, and I'm going to have to go along with this one. No, the actual disappointment is that the Lennons asked that I not do a monologue. Because it... No, they... See, they find me so funny that if I convulse them backstage, they won't be able to come out here and talk. So I'm not going to do that. But we really have a terrific show tonight, as you know. It's one of the hottest tickets in town. The censor has an oxygen tent standing by for some reason. I don't know why, because first of all, he thought it was going to be an easy day. He didn't know exactly what show we were doing tonight. And he heard the word Beatle and thought it was a show on ecology and thought it was going to have a lot of fun. And now he knows who it is. And our censor is an older man and an interesting man. But a very fair man, and I have knocked him in the past, just joking. But we have an understanding now that from now on, nothing comes out of the show. And we think that that's a wonderful thing, because you're mature people, and I think have a right, want to. So, anyway, I realize that there's a tremendous request for autographs here tonight. But if you will leave your books, I will get to all of them eventually. And... is this a surprise for me? I can't help noticing that, maybe I shouldn't mention that right now, that in the second row are two people peculiarly attired. I think I won't tamper with that at the moment. There are two people in bags, right? We've had a whole audience in the bag before, but this is interesting. Let us go away for just a moment. Talk to you about something. We'll be right back after this message of interest with you-know-whom. And whom. I guess you all know that, John Lennon, together with the three other fellows named McCartney and Harrison and Starr, were responsible for becoming, I guess, the most written about, most listened to, most imitated musical group of the 60s. And for about 8 years, they were leaders in the musical world, and not only that, but I probably affected what a decade of young people looked like and thought about and dreamed of, and they achieved the absolute pinnacles of success. They were even honored by the Queen, an honor which they eventually returned, I believe. I'm sure it doesn't come as a surprise to anyone that the Beatles are no longer together. In recent months, John Lennon and John has sort of surfaced in the underground press, where he gave a long interview in Rolling Stone magazine, in which he talked with a great deal of candor and some bitterness, I suppose, about the old days. And his wife, Yoko Ono, is maybe one of the most controversial ladies since the Duchess of Windsor. Wally Simpson kept the Duke from becoming the king. Tonight they are, however, quite above ground, and I'm very pleased to welcome them here. Will you welcome, please, John Ono Lennon and Yoko Ono Lennon. How are you?
Nervous, but okay, thank you.
Are you really?
Yes. Aren't
Now,
you?
is that a little bit?
Yeah.
But it isn't as if we've never met, because we did meet once.
We did meet in
Yeah.
a dingy hotel room.
Right. So you're Jack Lemmon.
Yes. And you're
Oh,
Fred
wait.
Astaire. Or is it Orson
I'm
Welles?
not Fred Astaire. Yoko, how are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good, good, okay. Is there anything that you want to know about me to start off with that we could, just to sort of get
What
the...
do you do for a living?
To get the... Actually, this is my profession.
I know you
it's-
lived here.
Yeah, I practically do. I hardly ever get out of here. The chair collapses into a bed, and
It must be hard.
it's a bad. Do you have my kind of show
In England.
all
Yeah.
over the world? I mean,
Yeah,
you've
they're
been
not
everywhere.
quite as good, you know.
They what?
They're not quite as good in England at repartee, you know.
Why is this?
Well, they're more inhibited, that's all.
The
You know,
English.
they don't have anybody that would sort of freak out a little.
Yeah.
Unless Jerry Rubin comes on, you know.
Oh yeah, Reuben came over and disrupted a show done by I can never think of the guy's name.
David Dost?
David Drost.
Yeah.
Yes.
It was very exciting.
Yeah, it was a very exciting show, actually.
What actually happened? They came in and broke up the studio.
They broke up the studio, and David ended up in the audience to show that he wasn't with the young people, you know, which shows where he is at, really.
out
Nothing
there.
personal, David, wherever you are, red light.
You,
All right.
you know, I had a terrible feeling that my hair was going to be longer than yours. It's a funny thing because I met you the other day. The recent pictures I'd seen of both of you, yours is extremely long, Yoko, and yours, John, was very long. And of
Yeah.
course, people going around saying, I can't tell which one is which, and all. You know,
Yes.
that sort of
Well,
witticism.
last year I cut mine. We both cut it right off down to about a quarter of an inch, 69 or 70, I can't remember, because I just suddenly realised it wasn't functional, you know, to have it. When I had it down here, you just have to keep washing it and combing it. You know.
Yeah.
So then I chopped it all off, and then it just grew a bit, and then I just let it grow to this length. You know.
What's your favorite length, Yoko? Are you at it right now?
Well, it depends, you know. We like change, and we just don't want to stick to one.
Who wants the
you know.
same old haircut every day, you know?
No.
Sorry, that's
Have
my,
a different one every few months. You know?
that's my feeling. Did you save the hair by
Oh yeah.
any chance?
One time we cut it, we gave it to some Michael Malik, who was running a sort of black house in London, which wasn't exactly a Black Panther thing, but it was. I think it was something to do with it. And they were just having a community centre in London, and we sort of symbolically gave it them. They were going to auction it off at wherever you auction hair off, you know.
Yeah.
That's quite nice.
That big place in London. I can't remember the name.
Sotheby's?
Yeah, that's it. It never happened though, but it was a symbolic gesture, really.
So you don't.
Solidarity. Dim.
And that hair today then is missing.
Gone tomorrow. Silly, isn't it? Oh, you're going to do this all
we
the
spent
time.
this much time there.
It's gone already.
Yoko, do you have fun when you're over here in this country?
Oh, yes, very much. Because after all, this is my second hometown.
Yeah.
She lived here for 10 years. didn't
People are surprised. They often say she speaks very good English. But you've been here a lot.
But some people ask me, well, can you speak Japanese? And then I get very offended, you know, because
Can you
I am
speak Japanese? Yeah.
you? Now you've offended her, haven't you?
Get me out of this, John.
Well, funny thing happened on the way in
Way
tonight.
to-
It never has to me.
Nor me.
Not once in my life.
Nothing happened.
You want to tell him
Whatsoever.
about that story, you know, whenever they talk to us and then they're not listening and then you start about that elephant.
Oh,
and
yeah.
that.
Have you, I suppose you get it too. When
Private
people
joke
meet you,
between us,
That's it.
you know, like in a restaurant or anywhere, when you're trying to order something, you find that they're so struck by, oh, is it really you, that they don't really hear your order, you know. So when I'm talking to them, I'm saying, I'd like a steak, medium, and 2 elephants came and a policeman bit my head off, and a cup of tea, please. And they're saying, yes, thank you.
It really is like
Because
that.
they're not listening, you know. Probably half of them aren't listening now, which is a good thing, I suppose.
That's a terrible feeling
Yeah.
to think that they're never listening at all.
Well, it's surreal, you know. I don't mind that.
Have you ever had elephant actually brought to you by someone who was listening?
And bit the policeman's head off quite often, yes. It's an old Anglo custom, you
I'll
know.
believe anything. Where, You like being over here, I gather. I have had some English guests on. What do you think of yourself as English? First of all, let's establish that.
Well, sometimes, I mean, if you ask talking about being over here or being over there, then
Over
I
here,
think, well, I'm from over there, you know.
Yeah.
But I normally think in terms of, I suppose I think in cliques and things like other people, like musicians and or long hairs and or under 30, over 30, etc., etc. And being married to a Hawaiian, it makes you sort of more international, you know? Sorry about that.
So we sort of
Must be a
treat
mistake
each
in my
other,
notes.
you
Well,
know?
people think of us as, especially in England, not so much here, we get a bit more respect in America as artists, but back home, I think it's the case for all artists, back home it's a bit like, I'm the man that won the pools and lucky guy who had a spot of luck and married a Hawaiian actress, you know, and which isn't true, really. Do you get it?
Because I'm from Japan and he's from England, so somehow we found out that we're sort of passionately patriotic sometimes, you know, and we get, well, no, I mean, that's Japanese made, or no, I mean, you know, English are the first ones to
I mean,
do
we
this
invented
and all
radar
that,
and
you know.
penicillin, you know. But it's a fan turning into a hard hat, you see, when we start discussing, you know, well, we're both islands, and we're both little, and we both did this, and we both did that. And we find ourselves turning quite fascist discussing it.
You do.
Made in Hong Kong and all that.
Yeah. And you do jokes with each other, and you kid her about...
Always laughing, Dick.
Are you? Give you in and laugh?
After
No.
this...
I mean, would you stoop to, you know, Pearl Harbor jokes and that
Oh,
kind of
yeah,
thing?
I do all that, yeah. I saw speak English, English
There's
pig.
a kabuki thing.
Oh yeah, there's a
know
kabuki
about
theatre in
kabuki,
Japan,
don't
and they have
I
a
know.
massive stage, and on stage they have the musicians with them, and
You've
all the
seen it
men
only
play the
once,
parts,
though,
you
yes.
see, and all the men play the women's part. They go, so that's kabuki, you see. I learned it after only one sitting.
It's very good.
Even
You-
Japanese,
do you know what it
yeah,
is?
they start to laugh when he does that, because it really is Japanese when he does that. I mean, kabuki, you know.
Only our hip
Very
nips will
kabuki.
notice how funny it is, actually.
There are two of them in Utah breaking up right now.
And I've seen one on TV with yellow glasses, and he calls himself the hip nip, and he pretended to be Italian in the war, I remember.
Is
funny,
is
though.
Mr. Lennon putting me on?
I don't know.
伊藤さんに民会優秀たのですか?
Ah!
Was sind die drei besten Dinge von der ganzen Welt?
Yo hablo poquito español.
¿Qué pasa?
Whose move is it? We have a brief message of interest from people of various creeds and colors, and we will return. There we are.
May I?
Now that we're through making fun of each other's nationalities and other people's, you were saying.
Yes, I just discovered, you know, so John was saying that he discovered that I chain smoke through this article that he was reading about me, you know. Somebody said I chain smoke.
I had noticed before.
Is that what it is now? And since then, you know, he never gets off that one. But I just noticed if I'm
What do
lighting
you see?
another
You
one.
see the video that you chain smoking? Oh, smoking kills, you see.
It is. It does. You know, you're setting a bad example
Didn't
for
work,
adults
John.
all over the world.
Didn't work, Arthur.
Does
talking
that
to
ever
John
happen
off.
to you, that you find out something about the other from something you read rather than
Oh,
actually?
sure. I mean, I began to suspect she chain smoked because every time I kiss her, I burnt my chin. But, and then I read it in an article. You
That's
see,
a wonderful delivery you've got. That's good. That's
Well, you know,
Yeah.
back on the boards.
good. Yeah. But what was I going to say just before that? Do you have any
Something about-
idea? We're talking about articles written about you and all that.
Oh,
stuff.
yes,
Well, I
that's-
know where I
Well,
was.
yes.
I know where I was.
What's that?
Earlier, I said you seem to like it here because I've had English guests on, British
Yeah,
guests,
that's
who said they come here because they're stifled over there and they can't work and they like the exhilaration here. Then I've had American writers
Yeah.
who have left America because they feel so menaced and threatened that they like the calm of London.
Yeah, well, somebody like Richard Chamberlain went over there and did very well, you know, going from the soap opera to Hamlet. And vice versa, I suppose people have come over here and broadened the scope. I think it's just a matter of you have a different kind of feeling when you're abroad, you know, maybe you can loosen up. But in Britain, we only have 2 channels of TV. And if you watch the old British movies on TV now here, it's the same old men always on TV in Britain still, you know. They have a sort of school of actors there's about 3 new people got into the profession since I was 10. So it's a bit limiting, you know.
Yeah. Oh, you do see
Yeah.
all the same old faces.
But the best thing about British TV is the live stuff, you know, like plays and things like that. But it just goes off at 12, you know. So if you have a choice in England of either going out to dinner or watching TV, you can't do both. Like, but with America, it's great. You just sort of wake up and it's on, and you get back after going out for an evening and it's still on. It's beautiful.
It's nice if you're sick.
I love
you know when you're sick and you're up
I'm
all night.
always sick. That's why I like it. So, according to something I was reading.
British TV is all right, though, in a way. You know, they have all sorts of nice.
Well, it's not bad, my dear.
I'm getting used to British TV more than Japanese TV, of course. You know.
Oh yeah.
I feel British sometimes. You know, that way.
Did your accent change slightly when you're in England?
I don't know.
Yeah.
People tell me that I have Liverpool accent now. And all
She used to have an American accent, being educated here at those funny schools.
Sarah Lawrence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a funny
just
place,
stayed,
isn't it?
you know, I was there.
Do you still have friends from Sarah Lawrence that you're in touch with?
Ah, well, there was one
Not-
turned
oh,
out
yes,
to be a
yes.
snide. Tell him
Yes.
about that.